Picture this for a second. Imagine you're stepping into a scene rendered in stunning, cinematic clarity, like a breathtaking, ancient heritage painting suddenly brought to life in hyper-real 4K. You're looking deep into a dim, ancient chamber of pain. Up above, a hidden moon hangs incredibly heavy in the sky, completely cloaked in shadow. And inside this chamber, there are trembling souls navigating the absolute darkness of the world, carrying these immense, almost crushing burdens. But here is the catch. Just outside, hovering right at the threshold, is the Shekhinah, the divine presence itself, bathed in this ethereal waiting light. She's right there, but she cannot enter. She is literally waiting for one specific key to turn the lock. She's waiting for the gate of joy to open.
Right, so this brings us to an absolute, non-negotiable spiritual axiom found deep in ancient texts like the Zohar. It states, Shekhinah la sharya ba'atar atzidu, which basically translates to, the Shekhinah does not rest in a place of sadness. It's not a suggestion, it is a fundamental rule of the cosmos. The divine presence absolutely requires a state of joy to connect with humanity. You have to think of it not just as an emotion. Actually, scratch that. It's way more than an emotion. It's an existential requirement. If the environment is heavy with despair, the divine presence simply cannot dock.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this rule creates what might be the ultimate spiritual paradox. Think about it. If joy is the absolute prerequisite for the divine presence to enter, and the righteous are, by definition, the ones closest to God, why is their earthly experience so often characterized by profound, heart-wrenching suffering? How can the holiest individuals, the ones supposedly carrying the Shekhinah, simultaneously be the ones experiencing the darkest depths of pain? At first glance, it feels like a massive glitch in the system, right?
To really unravel this, we need to translate an ancient Kabbalistic secret, a sod, into a concept that makes perfect sense to us today. So let's use a tech analogy. Think of your spiritual connection to the divine as a high-speed fiber optic internet connection. In this system, joy isn't just a happy feeling. Joy is the clean bandwidth. It is the exact access protocol that allows the Shekhinah to securely connect and upload divine energy straight into your dimension. Sadness, on the other hand? Sadness is static. It's a corrupted file. It physically damages the cloud channel, causing your signal to drop completely. The divine server is always broadcasting 24/7, but sadness literally destroys your receiver.
Section 1. Mapping the Cosmic Architecture.
So, if the righteous have perfect spiritual bandwidth, why does the static of suffering enter their lives at all? Well, to answer that, we have to look at the actual blueprint of reality. Let's break down the mechanics of the Sephirot. These are the 10 divine emanations, and let's look at them like we're mapping out a massively complex, multi-generational video game. In this cosmic engineering, energy drops down through specific levels. It starts way up high at a level called Binah. Binah is the ultimate source of pure, unadulterated joy. That energy then filters down through to Sephirot, which acts as a compassion filter, balancing out the raw, overwhelming power. From there, it travels down a massive conduit called Yesod, the channel. And finally, it lands in Malkut, which represents the Shekhinah, the receptive vessel down here in our lower world. Now, this is the ideal flow, a perfect, unbroken waterfall of joy. But as in any good game, there are obstacles.
So the crucial point is understanding exactly what intercepts this perfect flow. Enter Gevurah. Out of the 10 Sephirot, Gevurah is the cosmic attribute of strict judgment, restriction, and severity. Now, it is a completely necessary tension in the universe. Without it, things would just overwhelm us. But it is also the exact mechanism that introduces suffering into the system. When that beautiful downward flow of joy hits the harsh, restrictive firewall of Gevurah, the energy is intercepted. The bandwidth gets choked.
What's fascinating is that ancient Kabbalists actually color-coded these cosmic energies to track how this interference happens. You can see this beautifully detailed in deep texts like the Sheri Ora and Pardes Ramonim. They describe the energy of pure mercy and grace, that clear, high-speed bandwidth, as white. But when the strict judgment from Gevurah enters the system, it manifests as red or black fire. This fire is consuming, it's restricting, and it actively introduces suffering. And then there is green, which is the ruling, awe-inspiring power of Adonai administrating our physical realm. So when the world starts heavily leaning towards red and black, usually because of the collective actions and static of humanity, a tremendous amount of restriction and suffering is generated in the spiritual atmosphere.
Section 2. The Lunar Blemish.
To visualize this heavy restriction, mystics often pointed to the moon. Why? Because the moon has no light of its own, just like the Shekhinah, which only receives and reflects. And this brilliantly illustrates the cycle of spiritual energy. Think of a 4-week spiritual moon cycle. In the first 2 weeks, the light is waxing until it hits absolute divine fullness and joy. The bandwidth is wide open. But as the cycle wanes into the 3rd and 4th weeks, judgment starts to increase. The light gets hidden. The Shekhinah experiences a profound state of lack and exile. When humanity's actions create too much static, the cosmic moon basically goes dark, and the world is plunged into that restrictive, red and black, painful energy of Gevurah.
And this is exactly where the suffering of the righteous comes in. When the world is stuck in this dark phase, overflowing with strict judgment, the cosmic system desperately needs a release valve. This actually echoes the ancient, profound concept that he is wounded for our transgressions. The great mystic Harkanati offers a truly startling explanation for this. He says that during this time of the lunar blemish, the righteous act kind of like an arm being bled by a cosmic physician. Think about ancient medicine. If the whole body is severely ill, a doctor would bleed one specific limb to relieve the massive pressure and save the entire organism. In the same way, the righteous soul takes on the bodily suffering, intentionally acting as the lightning rod for Gevurah to heal the entire cosmic body and prevent total destruction.
Section 3. Radiance in the darkness.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how it brings us right back to our original paradox. If they are bleeding, if they are the ones suffering the most, how on earth can the Shekhinah be with them? Didn't we say at the very beginning that the Shekhinah only rests in joy? Well, you have to separate the hardware from the software, the physical body from the soul root. Externally, yes, they are experiencing bodily suffering. Their physical vessel is taking a massive hit, absorbing that red fire of judgment to repair the cosmic lack. But internally, at the deepest level of their soul root, there is a continuous, unbroken inner soul radiance. Because they accept this role with total faith and love, their inner essence remains perfectly, unshakably joyful. So their physical bandwidth is taking on all the world's static, but their inner private cloud channel to the divine remains flawlessly clean. And that is what allows the Shekhinah to dwell deep within them, even amidst the horrific external pain.
And here we find the ultimate resolution of our paradox. You see, the righteous soul's inner joy never actually wavers, not even for a second. The external suffering, that dark moon of the lunar blemish, is not a permanent state of sadness. It is simply the necessary pressure. It's the intense, required preparation for a massive cosmic reset. By holding on to joy internally while bearing the pain externally, they actually transform the very nature of judgment itself. It's an alchemy. As the ancient texts reveal, ultimately, all that sorrow and sadness is turned into a literal explosion of renewed light, resulting in infinite wonderful delight. The dark moon is just clearing the stage to prepare the way for the brightest dawn.
Which leaves us with one final, deeply profound question to think about. How will you clear your bandwidth this week to allow more joy into your own dimensions? Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.